Hey, how's it going? Charles here from Fine Tune SEO. And in today's video, I'm going to give you some basics when it comes to using Google Search Console and show you some of the key data points that you want to be looking at. Now, if you run a Shopify or e-commerce store, most likely is you're probably more familiar with Google Analytics. But Google Search Console is mainly an SEO tool, which is really good for identifying, firstly, what search queries or keywords you're already ranking for and driving traffic from, and also identifies if there's any major technical issues from an SEO point that's wrong with your website. So what I'm going to do is just delve into Google Search Console now, and just show you a few things. And this is assuming that you have Google Search Console set up already, okay? What I will do is I'll provide a link in the video comments with a guide on how to get Google Search Console set up, so that you can obviously do that. And feel free to pause this video if you've not got Google Search Console set up already. So let me just move myself down here into the bottom left corner. So assuming that you have Google Search Console set up correctly, what you should see in the top left-hand corner here is your domain. And you should see this window and screen here. So you've got at the top here, you've got site analytics for content creators, Search Console Insights, then you've got performance, indexing, experience, shopping, and then enhancements as you scroll down here. Now, the first thing I want to show you is the performance section. So, and you should see your data pulling through here. Now, if you've just set up Google Search Console, you may not see any data come through. What I would suggest doing is come back to your Google Search Console after a few days, because it does take Google a little while for your data to start showing up here, okay? So what we're going to do is click on Full Reports here under Performance. And you'll see at the top here, you've got kind of a date range. So you can set the data and look at different data points. So it's preset to the last 3 months, but you can select, say, the last 12 months. You can also do a custom range as well. So you can set a custom date range. But in this scenario, we'll go for last 12 months. And just before I click apply, you can also compare different date ranges. So what I like to do is compare an exact time period. So I like to compare, say, the last 28 days year on year, because that gives you a much accurate data point to compare data, especially with e-com sites, because there's a seasonality to your traffic. You know, some months you're going to naturally drive more traffic than other months. So it's good to compare like exact months to exact months. So i.e., January 2023 to, say, January 2024, to get the most accurate comparison data point. But we'll just go back to the filter, and then we're going to just look at the traffic for this domain for the last 12 months. Okay, so you'll see at the top here, you've got total clicks, total impressions, average CTR, which is average click-through rate, and then you've got average position. So total clicks is basically the total amount of organic clicks to the site, and then total impressions is, again, the total number of organic impressions. You've got the average click-through rate of all of the search queries that you're ranking for, and then the average position of all those search queries. And when I reference the term search queries, what I'm really referencing is keywords. So you'll see as you scroll down here, this is going to give you the data for the last 12 months. So you'll see that in this situation, typically the top query is most likely going to be your brand name. It may not be the case. You may actually have non-branded keywords that are driving more traffic than your brand name, but typically we'll see the brand name is driving the most amount of clicks. So you've got your search query here, or like as I mentioned, what would be referred to as your kind of keyword. Then you've got the amount of clicks that this particular search query has generated over the last 12 months. And then again, the amount of impressions that this search query has generated as well. And if you want to see the average click-through rate of each individual search query, you can just click on the average CTR. And then also, if you want to see the average position, you can also click. So you'll see here now that 2 new columns have been added. So you can see the click-through rates of each of these particular search queries, and then the average position. Okay. What you can also do as well is you can filter down by pages. So let's say, for example, let's take one of the pages from this domain. So let's go with this one here. We're going to copy that, and we can basically come up to new, click on page, paste that URL in, and you're going to see, if you go back to queries, you're going to see all of the search queries or keywords that particular page that we've just inputted in is showing up for. Okay, so you can look at each page in terms of keyword data on a real granular level, to kind of delve in and see how each individual page is performing. Equally, you could also, if you go to new and click on query, you can type in a particular keyword to see if the site is ranking for that keyword and how many clicks and impressions that keyword is generating for the site as well. So it really, gives you a lot of detail there on your keyword performance and the individual pages that you're ranking for. So we hover back over to overview here. One little feature, an area that I really like with Google Search Console is this Search Console Insights. So this is basically going to present some really nice visual data points on how well the site has been performing in the last 28 days. So you can see down here as we scroll down, your growing content comparing to the previous period. So you can see some of the best performing pages over the last 28 days and how the percentage increase for each of these pages, as well as some of the most popular content on the site. So the content that is driving the most amount of clicks as well. And then as you scroll down here, the most search queries that your website is getting clicks from. So for example, you can see that now Supplements Australia, it's generated 9 clicks organically, and it's ranked on average in position, in the top 5 basically organically on Google. So I really like that visual representation. And it kind of, when you go to achievements, it kind of gamifies your SEO activity and campaign, so you can kind of hit certain milestones in traffic, which I really like. So another thing that I wanted to show you as well is this indexing section. So under indexing, if you go to pages, you'll see potentially if there's any major indexing issues here. Now, certainly with e-commerce sites, this is quite common to see, a number of different potentially duplication issues. I won't go into detail into each of these kind of technical issues here, but this is certainly something that you want to pay close attention to. And if you're not familiar or understand any of this kind of terminology on how to kind of diagnose and fix these issues, then I would certainly look at hiring a specialist, whether it's an SEO or a web developer that will be able to help you with this kind of process and dealing with any kind of technical SEO issues on the site. So that's under indexing pages. The other one that you also want to do is make sure that you have a sitemap set up on the website. That's going to allow Google to better crawl your website. In this case, the domain doesn't have a sitemap, so this is something that I'm going to suggest that these guys do in order to make sure their site is properly crawled and indexed by Google. And again, I will also add a link in the comments of this video with a guide on how to set up a free sitemap for your Shopify store. It's kind of scrolling down here. There's just a few other things that I wanted to cover. So the shopping tab here, this basically ties into your Google Merchant Center and merchant listings. So basically you're on Google, you're able to upload your products into Google Merchant Center for them to show up organically. So you can basically link your Google Merchant Center to your Google Search Console, and this gives you some data on that. Again, I won't go into too much detail on that in this video. This is just really a very basic overview of Google Search Console and where you need to be looking and some kind of key data points to look at. And then finally, the last one I want to mention is at the bottom here, under legacy tools and reports, is links. So this is going to show you the external links, so that what domains you've basically got backlinks from, or sorry, what pages you've got backlinks pointing to, and then also it shows how many sites are linking to your domain as well. So yeah, that's basically a brief overview of Google Search Console. If you'd like me to do a further follow-up video into Google Search Console to delve into some more advanced tactics and features within this, then please leave a comment in the video section, and yeah, I'll do a part 2 at some point. But until next time, happy optimizing.